Did you know the Supreme Court of the Philippines thwarted a major land transfer scheme in Manila Bay, safeguarding public domain laws? Learn how the Supreme Court made a decision about this matter entitled Central Bay Reclamation and Development Corporation vs. Commission on Audit and the Philippine Reclamation Authority, GR number 252940, April 5, 2022.
This is the 29th of the 160 cases penned by Associate Justice Mario Lopez, the 2024 Bar Examination Chairman in the Philippine Bar Examinations. More reviewers just subscribe now.
Facts of the case. On March 30, 1999, the PRA entered into an Amended Joint Venture Agreement, JVA, with Central Bay for the development of the Freedom Islands, and approximately 592.15 hectares of Manila Bay's foreshore and submerged areas. The agreement allowed Central Bay to own certain portions of these reclaimed areas. However, in a 2002 decision, the Supreme Court nullified this agreement for violating the constitutional provisions that prohibit the alienation of natural resources and the acquisition by private corporations of any kind of alienable land of the public domain. The court established that while the PRA could lease these lands to private corporations, it could not sell or transfer ownership to them. Moreover, the submerged areas of Manila Bay remained inalienable until classified as disposable and declared no longer needed for public service. Following the nullification, Central Bay sought reimbursement from the PRA for costs incurred in the project's implementation. A compromise was proposed, where PRA offered to reimburse the costs by transferring a portion of reclaimed land to a qualified assignee of Central Bay. However, the Commission on Audit, COA, disapproved this agreement, stating that the stipulation for land transfer circumvented the court's decision and the constitutional ban against corporate ownership of land. Central Bay argued that the land transfer was to a qualified individual and not to itself, challenging the COA's decision on the grounds of grave abuse of discretion. The COA, supported by the Office of the Solicitor General, countered that the compromise agreement contravened the constitutional ban.
Primary issue in the Supreme Court. The main issue was whether the compromise agreement between Central Bay and the PRA, involving the transfer of reclaimed land to a qualified assignee of Central Bay, circumvented the constitutional prohibition against private corporations acquiring alienable land of the public domain.
Decision of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court dismissed Central Bay's petition, affirming the COA's decision. The court held that the compromise agreement was void ab initio as it was contrary to the constitutional prohibition against private corporations from acquiring alienable lands of the public domain. The court emphasized that a private corporation could not circumvent this prohibition by transferring the land to a qualified assignee. The court also noted that the agreement required congressional approval since the amount involved exceeded the threshold specified in the Administrative Code. Important doctrines discussed. 1. Prohibition against corporate ownership of alienable lands. Reinforced the constitutional provision that private corporations cannot own alienable lands of the public domain except through a lease, highlighting the absolute nature of this prohibition. 2. Principle of quantum meruit. Allowed Central Bay to claim reimbursement for the actual costs incurred in implementing the JVA, provided that the claim is substantiated by supporting documents. 3. Void a flat initio contracts. Emphasized that contracts violating constitutional provisions are void from the beginning and cannot be legitimized through indirect methods like the assignment of rights to a qualified assignee. 4. Congressional approval for compromise agreements. Stated that agreements involving government funds exceeding a certain amount require congressional approval, as per the Administrative Code of 1987. 5. Assignment of rights. Clarified that an assignee cannot acquire greater rights than those of the assigner and cannot circumvent constitutional restrictions through assignment.